There are rookie cards that feel like snapshots, and then there are rookie cards that feel like predictions. Derek Jeter's 1993 Topps number 98 falls squarely into that second category. On the front, the words 1992 draft pick arch over a lean teenager in Yankee pinstripes, frozen mid-throw on a stylized infield that looks more like a dream than dirt. He's not the captain yet. No World Series rings, no flip play, no Mr. November. Just a kid whose uniform looks a size too big and whose future feels a size too big for cardboard to hold. But if you stare at it long enough, you start to see what's coming. The calm in his face, the balance in his body, the way he looks like he's already rehearsing for late October in the Bronx. This card isn't loud or flashy. There's no foil, no autograph, no serial number stamped across the bottom. Just a name, a number, a team, and the quiet certainty that you're looking at someone who expects to be great. This is Derek Jeter before the 5 rings, before the captaincy, before the 3,465 hits and a walk-off goodbye, before Nike commercials built around respect and a farewell tour that turned every road stadium into a standing ovation. It's the origin frame of a 2-decade highlight reel, printed on thin cardstock and shipped out in wax boxes to kids who had no idea what they were holding. We're not just telling the story of a Hall of Fame career. We're telling the story of a promise kept. And it starts with a 1993 Topps rookie card that called it shot. Long before the Topps cameras captured Derek Jeter in Yankee gear, the uniform was already hanging in his imagination. He grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, far from the bright lights of New York, where expectations were as routine as dinner. His parents, Charles and Dorothy, had both played sports in college. They believed in discipline, in work, in character, and from an early age, they also believed in something else. If their said he wanted to be a shortstop for the New York Yankees, he was going to have to act like it every single day. So Derek did. He wrote it down, literally, a little kid writing out his dream job like he was already on a resume. He carried himself like someone preparing for that life long before any scouts showed up. At Kalamazoo Central High School, he wasn't just good, he was composed. He hit over 500, turned double plays like clockwork, and ran the bases with a mix of aggression and intelligence that felt beyond his years. The people around him saw the talent, but they also saw something more rare: certainty. This wasn't a kid hoping the Yankees would notice him. This was a kid quietly convinced that they would. And when the 1992 draft came around, the Yankees were looking for a cornerstone, someone to build a new era around after years of frustration. They took Derek Jeter, 6th overall. Just like that, the promise a kid from Kalamazoo had been writing in his head for years suddenly had a logo, a contract, and soon enough, a Topps rookie card to go with it. On 1993 Topps number 98, that dream has finally found a uniform. This card makes it look easy. Clean uniform, perfect posture, a young shortstop already at home on a pristine diamond. But the real story of Derek Jeter's rise is written on long minor league bus rides and in box scores that didn't always smile back at him. His first seasons in the minors were rough. The kid who looked so smooth in Kalamazoo suddenly found himself booting grounders on unfamiliar infields, 50-plus errors in a season, whispers that maybe the Yankees had reached, maybe shortstop was too big of a job, maybe the pressure of being a first-round pick in New York was heavier than even his confidence could handle. But Derek Jeter's career was never defined by the mistakes. It was defined by what he did after them. He didn't sulk. He didn't point fingers. He went back to work, day after day. He sharpened his footwork, learned hitters' tendencies, studied positioning. The errors dropped. The bat woke up. He started driving the ball to right field with that signature inside-out swing that would become his calling card. By 1994 and 1995, he was tearing through the farm system, single-A to double-A to triple-A, leaving behind a trail of high averages and coaches shaking their heads at how fast he adjusted. The talent was real, but so was the resilience. That's what makes the 1993 Topps number 98 so fascinating. It's issued right at the tension point, after the draft, before the doubt, and just as the grind was about to begin. When you hold it now, you're not just looking at a future Hall of Famer. You're looking at a kid about to find out how badly he really wants it. And it turns out, he wanted it more than anyone. By 1996, the Yankees were ready to turn the page. New manager, new energy. A roster that blended battle-tested veterans with hungry young talent. And at the center of it all, one of the most demanding positions in sports, was a 21-year-old shortstop with 15 big league games to his name. Opening day in Cleveland. Derek Jeter answered only the way he knew how, by meeting the moment. He stepped to the plate, turned on a pitch, and launched his first home run to left center. It wasn't just a big swing, it was a declaration. This spot is not too big for me. The season that followed was a masterclass in composure. Jeter hit .314, scored over 100 runs, and played a steady shortstop, and never once looked like the stage was shaking him. He won the American League Rookie of the Year unanimously, but even that undersells what he really did. He helped change the entire temperature of Yankee Stadium. Because 1996 wasn't just the year Derek Jeter arrived, it was the year October came back to the Bronx. In the ALCS, he hit that infamous fly ball to right field, the one Jeffrey Mayer reached over the wall to snag, turning it into a home run and turning Jeter into the unlikely center of a postseason controversy. In the World Series, he was quiet, steady, and always in the right place as the Yankees beat Atlanta to win their first championship since 1978. When you flip over that 1993 Topps card and read the early stats, they're modest. Just minor league lines and teenage production. But you also see the birth date, the draft position, the organization. And now you know what came next. The kid on this card walked straight from Kalamazoo into the heart of a dynasty. Every great career has a peak, but Derek Jeter's peak felt like an extended residency in baseball's highest pressure moments. Late 90s into early 2000s, he wasn't just a name on a lineup card. He was the face of a team that expected, almost demanded, to be playing under the cold lights of October. From 1998 to 2000, the Yankees ripped off 3 straight World Series titles. Jeter was in the middle of it all, hitting .324 in 1998, putting up a career year in 99, then taking over the 2000 Subway Series like it was his personal playground. That October, he won both the All-Star Game MVP and the World Series MVP, becoming the first player ever to pull off that double. Game 4 against the Mets, first pitch, leadoff home run. That's not a coincidence. That's a player who not only wants the moment, he expects it. Then there are the plays that turned into folklore. The flip in the 2001 ALDS, Jeter sprinting across the infield grass to intercept an errant throw, and with a casual backhand flick, saving his season. The Mr. November home run in the 2001 World Series, when a ballpark still grieving from September 11th saw Jeter walk it off just after midnight. These aren't isolated highlights. They're part of a pattern. You look back at that 1993 Topps number 98 now, and it almost feels like a movie poster for this stretch of his career. That young shortstop is about to become the hinge of a dynasty, someone who makes the extraordinary plays look routine when the whole sport is watching. The kid on the card didn't just grow up. He became the heartbeat of October. Success has a way of moving you from the lineup card to the front of the room. For Derek Jeter, the shift from star shortstop to captain wasn't about one speech or one season. It was all gradual, and then sudden. By the early 2000s, the core that had won those first championships was aging, retiring, or moving on. The roster around him had turned over, but Jeter remained in his spot at shortstop, the constant presence as the Yankees transitioned into a new era. In 2003, the title became official. The Yankees named him their 11th captain. In reality, he'd already been leading them for years. Jeter's version of leadership wasn't subtle, but it was powerful. No dramatic rah-rah moments, no public callouts. He showed up early, played hurt, took responsibility when things went wrong, and never asked anything of teammates he wouldn't do himself. Young players watched how he moved. Veterans trusted that when the storm came, he'd still be standing at shortstop, glove ready, eyes calm. On the field, he adjusted too. He smoothed out his defense, winning Gold Gloves. He shaped his approach at the plate to become brutally consistent, spraying line drives to right center, grinding out at bats, posting season after season of 190, 200, and 210 hits. In 2006, he hit .343 and finished a very close second in MVP voting, a reminder that even deep into his career, he was still one of the best players in the world. That 1993 Topps rookie now feels almost symbolic of this phase. The card doesn't shout, it doesn't brag. It's simple, clean, confident, just the way Derek Jeter carried the captaincy. Without theatrics, but with a standard so high, everyone else had to reach for it. The end of a career is rarely as graceful as the beginning, but somehow Derek Jeter found a way to script both. As his legs aged and the game sped up around him, he leaned even harder on the things that had carried him this far: preparation, pride, and the stubborn refusal to let moments pass him by. On July 9, 2011, at Yankee Stadium, sitting on 2,999 hits, Jeter stepped in against David Price. Fastball, turned on, launched into the left field seats for hit number 3,000. No bloop single, no infield dribbler, a home run. The first Yankee ever to cross that threshold. Doing it in a 5-hit game that he also finished with the go-ahead single. It felt less like a box score and more like a chapter heading. The real goodbye came 3 years later. Injuries had marred 2013. The announcement that 2014 would be his final season turned every road trip into a farewell tour. But in New York, the script still had one more scene left. September 25th, 2014. Tie game, bottom of the ninth. Jeter at the plate in his final game at Yankee Stadium. A classic Jeter swing, inside out, right field, walk-off single. The runner scores, the crowd erupts, and the captain stands on first base, hands in the air, overwhelmed in a way we almost never saw. That 1993 Topps card shows the beginning of the story. The walk-off in his final home game shows the end. What links them is that the kid on the card and the legend on first base handle the pressure exactly the same way. Calmly, completely, and on his own terms. When Derek Jeter walked off that field for the last time, the numbers were already historic. Over 3,400 hits, 5 World Series rings, 14 All-Star selections, 5 Gold Gloves, 5 Silver Sluggers, a Rookie of the Year, a World Series MVP, an All-Star Game MVP. His name sits near the top of almost every postseason leaderboard, but his legacy stretches way beyond the stat lines. He became the template for what a franchise cornerstone looks like in the modern game. In an era shaped by scandals, PEDs, tabloid meltdowns, social media missteps, Jeter managed to spend 20 years in New York with his reputation not just intact, but elevated. No shortcuts, no excuses, no asterisks. Off the field, he built something just as enduring. The Turn 2 Foundation, started back in his rookie year, has poured tens of millions into programs that help kids make healthy choices, chase education, and develop leadership. He launched the Players Tribune to give athletes their own voice. He stepped into the front office world with the Miami Marlins, taking on the challenge of team building from the other side. When he was elected into the Hall of Fame with one of the highest voting percentages of all time, it felt less like a surprise and more like a formality. The kid on that Topps card had become a first ballot lock. But when you really think about Derek Jeter's legacy, it circles back to something simple. He made it cool to do things the right way. He showed you how you can be competitive without being dirty, famous without being a spectacle, and legendary without losing your humanity. And all of that is hiding in plain sight on that little piece of cardboard. Hold that 1993 Topps number 98 in your hand and try to ignore everything you now know. Forget the 5 rings, the flip, Mr. November, 3,000, the captaincy, the Hall of Fame plaque in Cooperstown. Just look at the card. You see a thin, almost wiry shortstop in pinstripes, legs spread over a stylized infield, arms extended as if he was about to throw a runner out by a half step. The background is bright, almost neon green, like the game itself is still brand new. The name at the bottom, Derek Jeter, is printed in simple white letters on a navy banner. No gold stamping, no future Hall of Famer label, just a prospect, a team, and a future waiting to be written. And yet, now you can't help but see the whole story layered on top of it. The kid from Kalamazoo who made good on a wild promise. The rookie who helped resurrect Octobers at Yankee Stadium. The captain who carried a franchise standard through eras of change. The veteran who said goodbye with a walk-off, then stepped into the next phase of his life still leading, still building, and still giving back. That's what Cardboard Credentials is really about. Not just the stats on the back, but the life that unfolded after the ink dried. The way a mass-produced piece of cardboard can become a time capsule for belief, for resilience, for leadership. Some cards are investments. Some are nostalgia. This one is a story. Derek Jeter, 1993 Topps number 98. A rookie card that didn't just predict greatness. It documented the moment greatness began.